Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? This is almost like a joke. It's almost like a joke at this point. Every day. I mean, every damn day, it's something new with the Saints. I wish I was joking, but, I mean, I open up Twitter late morning, and there's Ian Rappaport with a tweet. Saints veteran cornerback Patrick Robinson informed the team he's retiring, per his agent, after 11 seasons and a Super Bowl title. The former first-rounder calls it quits. I mean, so if you're scoring at home here with me, let's just take it to the end of last year. So Drew Brees retires. You're in an absolutely miserable cap situation, so you let Trey Hendrickson and Sheldon Rankins walk in free agency. You trade Malcolm Brown to Jacksonville. Because your cap is in such shambles, you got to let a bunch of veterans walk. So you cut Jackrabbit, Jared Cook, Emmanuel Sanders, Josh Hill, Thomas Morstead, Quan Alexander, with the asterisk that you did bring Quan back here recently. Then we find out that Michael Thomas was ignoring the Saints for about 3 months, put off a surgery he needed to have in the spring, instead had it in June, and he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. And then we also learned that Will Lutz has some type of weird abdominal issue, and he's going to be out for 2 or 3 months. And the very next day, Patrick Robinson announces he retires, and that's on top of learning David Onyemata is going to be suspended for 6 games. You're likely going to be without Marshawn Lattimore at some point due to suspension. And the same goes for Deontay Harris, who got a DUI, and he's likely also going to be suspended at some point this season. Did I get them all? Is there anything I missed at this point? Oh, yeah. You're basically supplementing your roster with bottom-feeding free agents like Brian Poole and Prince Amukamara, because that's going to fix it. Sean Payton today discussed Patrick Robinson's retirement and the conversation he had with the veteran.
He's played in this league a long time, and he and I spoke for about a half an hour. You know, he's had a great career. He's been smart with his money, and it was something that, you know, deep down inside he felt. It's not unusual, really, in training camp. It's happened a number of times. It's hard to ever see somebody and how they're feeling. When you have a large group of players like this, someone who's played as long as he has, you know, he felt comfortable with his decision, and certainly, you know, we respect that, and he'll get on to his next chapter, and we go from there.
So interestingly, with Patrick Robinson, he had a sort of up-and-down career with the New Orleans Saints, it's fair to say. P-Rob was the first pick the Saints made after winning the Super Bowl. He was their first-round pick in 2010. And as a first-rounder out of Florida State, it just never really materialized for P-Rob as a boundary corner. He had to leave New Orleans, and he went to the Chargers, the Colts, and then the Eagles in 2017, won a Super Bowl with the Eagles while he was there. And that's basically where he kind of learned his best role in the NFL, and he was best suited as a nickelback and played that role really well, well enough that the Saints brought him back to New Orleans. So in one respect, you're a little bummed that your first-round pick never really worked out as a boundary corner, but then the other part of it is also that you were able to bring him back, and he fit a really great role. So he did end up having a very productive career. So good for Patrick Robinson. You heard Sean Payton say it there. He was very good with his money and was just ready for the next phase, and it's not altogether uncommon that veteran guys show up for camp and then retire during camp. But that does, in fact, happen. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you know, that was also something that happened with Zach Strief. I mean, we've seen that with guys before where they come to camp thinking they're going to give it one more go, and it's just not there. I mean, it happened with Champ Bailey when the Saints brought him in. He realized he couldn't roll anymore, and so he retired. So I'm not so much upset at P-Rob. I mean, it's a life decision this guy's got to make. And the reality is also that if we were collectively counting on Patrick Robinson to be one of the Saints' boundary corners, and he was working with the ones at times, P-Rob and Ken Crawley were basically the guys working opposite Marshawn Lattimore. That's a problem. I mean, I like Patrick Robinson as a nickelback, as a 33-year-old veteran defensive back in that nickel role where you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson who can play. He could play nickel, he could play safety, he could play a lot of different roles. But I like P-Rob in that role. As a boundary corner, not so much, but it's just another blow to your depth. I mean, you have these elite-level talented players that we know like Thomas and Kamara and Ramczyk and Lattimore. I mean, you've got these elite-level top-end guys, but the middle level of your roster has basically just been gutted. You're a house of cards right now. You're very top-heavy with nothing behind it. And this is just another example of that. So, listen, Sean Payton, after practice today and sharing the news that Patrick Robinson was, in fact, retiring, was asked about filling that spot at cornerback with Robinson out.
It's still an area, though, we'll pay close attention to. We'll keep working the rosters, and, there'll be a cut down. In the meantime, we're working closely with the guys we have here.
He called it a must last week. And they added Prince Amukamara, but I don't think anyone's sitting here thinking that Prince Amukamara is actually, the answer at cornerback right now for New Orleans. We are going to discuss a bit later in the show the possibility of a trade for CJ Henderson. But basically where the Saints are right now is they have a decision to make just philosophically as an organization. Are you still in win now mode? That's really the question. Do you feel like you are in win now mode? Because if you are, then you have to make an aggressive move like trading Michael Thomas for a CJ Henderson to bring in a boundary corner, to bring in a defensive tackle, like these spots where you have gaping holes. You've got to add starting caliber players if you're in win now mode. The other very real possibility is the Saints look at their roster and they say, we're not winning a championship with this core. So if you're not going to win a championship, are you better served, I hate to use the word, but tanking? Selling off key parts to acquire assets, get your salary cap in order, go into next year's draft with a healthy salary cap situation, a loaded bag of draft picks, and try to build your roster moving forward that way. I don't know what the answer is, but Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis are going to have to make that decision. They're going to have to make it soon because season fast approaching. Saints will have their first preseason game on Saturday in Baltimore, and they'll be without Patrick Robinson, who today announced he is retiring after 11 seasons in the NFL.